You've probably heard that it takes money to make money. And in a way that's true, but not for the reason most people think. A group of Stanford students proved this in the most creative way. Each team got $5 and 2 hours to make as much money as possible. One team sold trinkets and another pumped bike tires, but the team that crushed it didn't even use the $5. Instead, they took a step back and asked a better question. All things included, what's our most valuable asset? Their answer? Access. So they sold their 3-minute presentation slot to a company wanting to recruit Stanford students, which is how they aced their project and walked away with $650, a 12,000% ROI. Here's why this matters for you. That saying, it takes money to make money, comes from this. When you have money, the stakes feel lower. You can take risks, you feel more abundant, and you aren't attached to needing a specific outcome. That resulting energy is often what creates success, not the money itself. Yes, I'd also rather have money than not, but the point is, money is just one way to create that momentum. Time, energy, and resourcefulness can be just as powerful, especially when you're starting your own coaching business. So in this video, I'll show you exactly what starting a coaching business looks like at 3 different levels. If you've got no money but lots of time, if you've got a little of both, or if you want to invest more to speed things up. All of these paths can get you to a successful business. The key is knowing how to navigate each path. Now, can someone please hop in a time machine and go back 10 years to tell me that? In all seriousness though, I hope this saves you from making one of the most expensive mistakes that you can make in business. When I first started, I was only familiar with the startup world, where the rule of thumb is, if you want to go faster, spend more money. Plus, honestly, I was terrified of failing. So my brain was like, okay, if I can just spend enough money, I can buy my way to success, which is how I ended down the path so many new entrepreneurs do. I just started throwing money at my problems. That's how I ended up hiring my first ever business coach for $15,000. Not necessarily a bad thing in of itself, but here's the problem. I didn't do my research. I was so in fear that as soon as I saw a coach who'd done what I wanted to do, build a 6-figure online business, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the answer to all of my problems. Except the coach I hired didn't actually know how to grow a business. Her only experience was coaching people how to become a business coach, which is not what I was doing back then because I didn't have the experience to do that. Back then, I didn't realize that this is apparently a thing, even though it shouldn't be. So by the end of her program, I wasn't just out $15,000, I was even more confused than when I started. That was my first mistake, and unfortunately, it was not the last. Cue me wasting $2,000 on a lawyer who knew nothing about the online space, and $3,000 on video experts who gave me a video that looked like I had filmed wearing clown makeup in a dark alleyway. I'm telling you guys, I wish I had the video because it was so bad. But it also taught me such an important lesson. If you don't know what level you're in, you can end up pouring so much money on the wrong things at the wrong time, and it adds up. So let's talk about what the right things look like depending on your current situation. Maybe you're feeling super inspired to do this thing. You're watching YouTube videos like this one to figure out the best way to start, and you believe you can do it. But you're also just making ends meet. You don't have room to get a hot bar meal at Whole Foods, but also seriously, why are they so expensive? Let alone invest in anything major. Don't worry. This is where most new coaches start, on level 1, scrappy but determined. This was where I got my first paying client, and I didn't spend a single dollar to do it. Here's how I did it. I found 5 places where my potential clients were hanging out online. For me back then, it was Facebook groups, forums, anywhere I could find. And then I hustled. I showed up every day with value. I shared my stories, I answered questions, and I gave my best advice for free. One day, a woman asking questions about digital advertising caught my eye. I messaged her, hey, I do this in my job and I'm happy to help you for free. All I ask in return is that you answer some market research questions. That was honestly all I was looking for. So we got on a call, and then afterwards, she started sending me questions, which I continued to answer. I was just so excited that anyone cared at all about what I thought was my very boring area of knowledge. One day, I opened my inbox and I see another email from her. I'm thinking, oh, this is another question. It was, but it was the best kind of question. You have helped me so much for free. I know that I'm gonna get even more if I hire you, so how can I hire you? The point is, this is proof that yes, you can absolutely start with just what you have right now. High five to not needing anything more than that. Because the beauty of this type of business is that you are the product. So you already have everything you need to make your first sale. If your goal is to make money before you spend money, level 1 is your happy place. But if you want to save time, that's where level 2 comes in, the solid foundation. This is where I found myself when I was still in my 9-to-5 and I was coming home every day just totally wiped out. Literally, I was collapsing on the couch with a bag of Cheetos and whatever TV looked good. This was pre-Falco. I knew that I needed a little extra help to get things moving because I just didn't have the energy to figure everything out on my own. So this time I did better research and found a coach who actually knew how to build an online business. I paid her around $10,000. Then I also wanted some extra help learning social media, especially for the most introverted girl in New York City who had never been on video before. That was about $2,000. Add in hiring a copywriter to teach me how to write for business for $3,000, about $500 for software and legal contracts and setup for about $1,500. In total, around $17,000 spent. And even worse, I only made about $16,000 at first from those investments. Ouch. But I also didn't mind because nobody needs to make all those investments in the beginning. That's actually the point of level 2. You get to choose how you want to trade your money for time. Because when you're in a 9-to-5, having a salary gives you that option. I remember being so frustrated there wasn't a single program that taught you everything you need to start a coaching business. All those things I spent money on in level 2 felt like I was trying to put together pieces of a puzzle that I didn't even have the whole picture for. That's why I decided that once I figured it all out, I was going to create a full system so that no one would have to go through the expensive trial and error that I had to. Since then, I've helped over 4,000 people start their own business with this system. So if you want to see how the system works, including the step-by-step approach to get clients, set up your business, and avoid wasting your time and money, I walk you through all of it in my free masterclass at luisazhou.com/masterclass. I'll also pop the link in the description. You'll see how to start smart, no matter what stage you're at, and skip the mistakes so that you can actually build your business faster. Plus, once you've gotten your first clients and have some systems in place, that's when you get to move on to level 3, the self-growth power up. This is where it gets exciting because you are way more in control of your results. Now that you've proven your business has legs, you get to amplify what's working. For me, that meant upgrading my email marketing software for about $3,000. I also wanted to step up my online credibility, which meant ditching my cobbled together super amateur website and investing in a professional designer and photographer for a total of about $9,000. On top of that, I also brought in a sales coach to teach me how to sell while feeling in integrity. And I also ran some paid ads to get my services in front of more people. This was when the calculated risk I'd taken paid off. In just a couple of months, I spent about $25,000, but made $90,000. And I want to hammer home here. You don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get results like this. I was young, honestly, a little insane, and I wanted to go all in. But all you really need is to be strategic. Remember the Stanford story from the beginning? The team that made the most money didn't rely on cash at all. They leveraged their resourcefulness and creativity. And after now having seen behind the scenes of thousands of businesses, I can honestly say that's what separates those who succeed from those who fail. Whether you start scrappy, decide to build a solid foundation from the start, or go all in on level 3, your most valuable asset is what you already have, because that's all you have. So really, the answer to how much does it cost to start a coaching business is anywhere from $0 to $42,000. It honestly just depends what level you're at and what you want to spend within that level. But your first client, your first breakthrough, your first big win is possible at any of these spends. In fact, no matter your budget, you could get your coaching business off the ground within the next 24 hours. And in this next video, I'm gonna walk you through the exact 4 steps to do that. We'll cut through the overwhelm, help you create your first coaching package, and even find your first client. If you are ready to get going, I will see you over there.